Welcome to Ascension HFY Extra, the ultimate destination where we explore the mysteries of the universe. Dive deep into the world of UFOs, extraterrestrials, and the most captivating stories from across the cosmos. If you've ever wondered about the possibility of life beyond our planet, the strange phenomena that have defied explanation, or the secrets hidden within the stars, you've come to the right place. Our journey begins right here, where we unravel the truth behind alien encounters, government cover-ups, and the strange patterns that have left experts scratching their heads for decades. From the well-known cases like Roswell and Phoenix Lights, to lesser-known incidents that will challenge everything you think you know about extraterrestrial life, Ascension HFY Extra brings you stories that will leave you questioning the very fabric of reality. Get ready to explore with us. As we share these intriguing stories, we invite you to leave your thoughts, questions, and theories in the comments below. What do you think is out there? Do you believe we're not alone? The truth is out there, and it's closer than you think. In the endless expanse of the cosmos, a vast network of star systems stretches out, a tapestry woven over millennia. 27,000 stars, each one a flickering dot in the dark void, connected by invisible threads of technology, bureaucracy, and the ceaseless hum of civilization. The silence of space, despite its emptiness, was never truly quiet. It was filled with the rustle of data packets, the shuffle of paperwork, the hum of endless processes. Even in the vacuum of the stars, forms multiplied, and decisions were recorded. The Galactic Classification Authority, GCA, an organization as old as the stars themselves, had one sacred duty: to assess and catalog every sentient species in the known universe. The galaxy was a garden of life, each species a unique bloom to be examined, classified, and understood. Some were deemed to be benevolent, peaceful, docile, and welcoming. Others were designated as Deathworlders. The humans, wild and untamed, found themselves placed under the ominous category of Deathworlders Class 3. Dangerous, volatile, yet somehow mostly harmless. The footnote, however, carried an unsettling asterisk. See Appendix Q for anomalous behavior patterns and inexplicable survival rates. But that asterisk, like a forgotten relic of a previous administration, had been lost in a sea of interstellar paperwork. It was this very oversight that set the stage for what was to come. In the shadows of this cosmic bureaucracy, a lone figure was dispatched: Z.R. Tox, a xenobiologist from the Lenticula Scientific Academy, with a mind honed by the study of the universe's most dangerous and peculiar species. Z.R. Tox was assigned the task of verifying Earth's anomalous classification. Z.R. Tox would be the one to unravel the mystery of humanity's survival, to determine whether these beings, teetering on the edge of chaos, were truly as harmless as the data suggested, or if they were, in fact, something far more dangerous. Z.R. Tox's ship pierced through the stratosphere and descended onto Earth. A world of conflicting beauty and danger. The northern Cascade Mountains, an untamed wilderness, stretched out below, a place where the raw forces of nature ruled. The land was vast, untouched, and ancient, its jagged peaks reaching for the heavens. It was a land that had shaped and hardened those who called it home. A perfect specimen for study. The air, rich with reactive oxygen, hung thick with a sense of hostility. A chemical imbalance that Z.R. Tox's advanced suit had to constantly compensate for. The gravity, too, was far more intense than expected. Every step felt like the crushing weight of a gas giant's embrace, as though the planet itself was determined to see if its visitors could survive its weight. Int. Z.R. Tox's exosuit, VIEWSCREEN, through the helmet's darkened visor. The mountainous expanse below unfurled like a living entity. ZR-Tox's exosuit, engineered for high-gravity worlds, buzzed with energy as its systems adjusted to the volatile atmosphere. Yet, despite all the technology surrounding it, there was an unnerving feeling of vulnerability. Here, on this primitive world, even the most sophisticated equipment felt like a mere tool against the relentless forces of nature. AIVO. Environmental adaptation complete. You may now disembark. ZR-Tox exhaled, a soft hiss escaping its suit. Despite the technological advancements that allowed it to survive the harsh conditions of Earth, the alien couldn't shake the feeling that this world was testing its limits. ZR-Tox whispers. Everything about this planet screams survival of the fittest. Let's see what makes these humans so resilient. The ship's AI, an omnipresent voice in ZR-Tox's ear, fell silent, leaving only the sound of the wind rustling outside. ZR-Tox's gaze flickered to the surrounding forest below. It was strange, almost alive, as though every tree, rock, and stream was a challenge to those who dared to venture too deep. There was a primal energy to Earth that was unlike any ZR-Tox had encountered. It wasn't just the terrain, it was the very essence of the planet that seemed to call out. A challenge, perhaps, a warning. Next, Cascade Mountains, landing site. The ship's landing gear sunk into the rocky earth, settling in the wilderness with a deep, resonating thud. The door opened with a low hiss, and ZR-Tox stepped out, the strange world stretching endlessly before it. There was no welcoming committee, no ambassadors, no signs of civilization, just the wind, the trees, and the ever-present hum of its suit's life support systems. ZR-Tox, musing. Primitive, but fascinating. ZR-Tox adjusted its stance, assessing the landscape. The data it had gathered from its initial scans of the planet confirmed the unpredictability of Earth's environment. But what was even more perplexing were the creatures that had survived it, humans. These beings, seemingly soft and frail, had somehow managed to carve out a place for themselves amidst the planet's harshest elements. Int. ZR-Tox's exosuit, VIEWSCREEN. The suit's display flickered to life again, showing a simple map of the surrounding area. ZR-Tox's eyes narrowed. It was time to begin the investigation. Time to see for itself what made humanity so resilient, so dangerous. ZR-Tox, softly. Let the research begin. The thick, towering trees swayed with an ancient rhythm, their trunks gnarled and weathered by countless seasons. Earth's wilderness stood before ZR-Tox like an impenetrable fortress. Each leaf, each branch, every gust of wind whispering secrets of this untamed world. The atmosphere hung heavy with the scent of pine and wet earth, an essence that felt both foreign and strangely familiar. ZR-Tox remained hidden, watching, analyzing, waiting for the right moment to observe the creatures of this land, humans. Through the dense underbrush, ZR-Tox caught the faintest flicker of movement. A human figure appeared, breaking the stillness of the forest. The figure was cloaked in the ruggedness of survival, a heavy backpack, tattered clothes, and sturdy boots that seemed to sink into the soft moss beneath. The human moved with purpose, as if the wilderness itself were part of his body. The camouflage cloak, once activated with a soft hum, failed to conceal ZR-Tox fully. The alien had underestimated Earth's peculiar atmospheric conditions. Pine needles bent unnaturally beneath the shroud. The rustling was subtle, but enough to catch the attention of the human. Human, grinning. I can see you. You know, your cloaking tech is bending the pine needles the wrong way. Cool tech though. A wave of mild surprise passed through ZR-Tox's sensors. It had not expected to be detected so easily. The human's voice carried no fear, only curiosity. ZR-Tox, reluctantly, deactivating the camouflage, Your senses are acute. I had assumed the cloak would remain undetected. The human steps closer, his expression one of bemusement rather than alarm. Human, cheerfully. Looks like you're the one doing the research on us? Name's Jack, wilderness guide. What's a space zoologist doing here? ZR talks, translating through its internal systems. I am studying your species. Evolutionary anomalies. Jack let out a deep, genuine laugh that echoed through the forest, blending with the distant call of an unseen bird. Human, laughing. Yeah, I figured. Well, if you want a real look at us, you're in the right place. Let me show you around. You'll see what we're really capable of. ZR Talk stood still, processing this new development. Despite the uncertainty of this encounter, there was something disarming about the human's openness. It wasn't fear that radiated from Jack, but a strange kind of ease, as if he had lived his entire life among the very forces ZR Talks had come to study. The towering trees gradually thinned, and the path became more rugged as Jack led the way, weaving through the dense foliage. With each step, the forest seemed to tighten around them, the air growing thicker, more charged. The ground underfoot shifted from soft moss to jagged rocks, as if the planet itself was challenging the uninvited guest. ZR Talks' sensors adjusted, detecting the subtle shifts in temperature and pressure. The landscape, ever-changing, seemed to conspire against them. And yet, Jack moved effortlessly. His boots crunched against the rough terrain with a steady rhythm. His movements sure, as though this wilderness was his domain, not just a place of survival, but a place of belonging. ZR Talks, VO. This is extraordinary. Your species seems unafraid of danger. Your survival instincts are unlike anything I have encountered. It is as though the dangers of this world do not hinder you, but feed you. Jack glances back at ZR Talks, flashing a grin. Human, smiling. We've evolved with the predators here. Not just survived, we thrive. It's all about respect. The words struck ZR Talks with a peculiar weight. In the annals of xenobiology, it was rare to encounter a species that saw its environment not as a threat to be conquered, but as a balance to be respected. And yet here it was, humans, walking calmly through a land teeming with danger, as though it were as natural as breathing. ZR Talks, analyzing. Voice almost inaudible. Your species actively competes with apex predators? Fascinating. Jack's voice came again, casual yet knowing, as though he could sense the alien's thoughts. Human, chuckling. Predators. Yes, but that's the thing about Earth, we're not just victims. We're part of the food chain, and we've learned how to respect the ones at the top, even if we have to fight them. ZR Talks' internal systems buzzed with data, recording Jack's words with clinical precision. Yet, it could not dismiss the unsettling feeling that lingered. Humans, it seemed, were not merely creatures who had learned to survive amidst danger. They were creatures who had learned to embrace it. As they pushed deeper into the wilderness, ZR Talks noticed something strange. The closer they got to the heart of the forest, the more the planet itself seemed to watch. The trees, ancient and knowing, seemed to lean in, their leaves rustling with secrets. The wind howled with an unfamiliar force, as if this very landscape was alive, watching them, waiting. Jack, unbothered, continued on without hesitation. His confidence was as unshakable as the mountains around them. Human, gesturing toward the dense thicket. Watch that ridgeline up ahead. Mountain lions hunt there sometimes. Beautiful creatures, but they're hunters, just like us. They'll stalk anyone they think is weak. Just remember, don't act like prey. Stay calm, and you'll be fine. ZR Talks, perplexed. Your species considers apex predators beautiful? Jack gave a shrug, his movements fluid, a deep understanding behind his eyes. Human, with a small smile. Deadly things are often the most beautiful. It's how we relate to nature. Respect the danger, appreciate the beauty, and always carry a good knife. ZR-Tox paused. These words were profound, and yet, human. In the vast, sterile laboratories of the Academy, survival was a data point, an equation, a variable. But here, among the mountains, survival was an art. It was an unspoken dance between danger and respect, life and death, a paradox ZR-Tox had yet to fully comprehend. Jack turned to face ZR-Tox with a thoughtful expression. Human, slowing down. You know, you're the first real alien I've met up here. Most of you just hide. Watching. I guess that's what you folks do. Huh? Watch. Take notes. Then leave. But if you're going to study us, you've got to see it all. Not just the easy parts. This is where we really live. Where we're truly alive. ZR-Tox, quietly, almost to itself. This planet has shaped you in ways we cannot yet fathom. Your survival here, it is not merely instinct. It is a bond. Jack nodded, then pushed forward, a silent invitation for ZR-Tox to follow. As the alien took the next step, the weight of Earth's ancient, untamed beauty pressed in on it once more. And for the first time, ZR-Tox began to understand why humanity had survived. The day was slipping into the quiet hum of afternoon, and the forest around them had grown dense, as though the trees themselves were closing in, protecting the secrets of this ancient place. They reached a river, its waters rushing in a frantic rush, carrying the mountain's heartbeat with it. The cold mist from the water clung to the air, mingling with the scent of damp earth and moss. The ground underfoot was slick, slippery, and uncertain, as though even the earth here didn't want to be touched. The clearing was narrow, hemmed in by rocks on either side, the foliage thick with the weight of untold stories. It was the kind of place that felt alive, as though nature itself watched every step, listened to every breath. The sound of the river's roar filled the silence. But in the blink of an eye, it became nothing. Jack freezes mid-step, human, whispering, almost inaudibly, not alone. ZR-Tox's sensors flared to life. The calmness of the world now shattered. The alien's exosuit buzzed as it analyzed the environment. A sudden spike of heat in the air, large, threatening, a force of nature moving just beyond the treeline. ZR-Tox's enhanced vision zoomed in, revealing a massive form moving through the dense underbrush, pushing the branches aside with a quiet but relentless force. A huge grizzly bear emerged from the shadows of the trees. Its fur was matted and heavy, like the cloak of a primordial king. Its eyes narrowed with an unmistakable menace. The air around it seemed to pulse with raw power, and its massive frame shook the very earth beneath its paws as it stalked closer. ZR-Tox's exosuit calculated the threat in milliseconds, its systems whirring to life. Every alert flashed in rapid succession, each one more urgent than the last. This was no ordinary predator. ZR-Tox, concerned, whispering, "This is a predator capable of killing any unprepared species. We must retreat." Jack stood perfectly still, his eyes never leaving the bear. Despite the overwhelming presence of the apex predator, there was no panic in his gaze, no hint of fear in his stance. The human was strangely calm, the very air around him seeming to soften in contrast to the tension growing in ZR-Tox's sensors. Human, calmly, with quiet assurance. "Retreat? No need. We'll handle this." There was no hesitation in Jack's voice, no sign of uncertainty. It was as if he had seen this many times before, and the outcome was already decided. ZR-Tox activates the defensive systems of its exosuit, a low hum vibrating through the suit. The suit's protective shields expanded, creating an invisible barrier between ZR-Tox and the advancing predator. Its movements were deliberate, analytical, every option weighed, every escape route evaluated, but it could not shake the feeling that there was something fundamentally wrong with this situation. This wasn't a battle between species. This was something much deeper, a dance of life and death. The bear, Sensing no immediate threat from ZR-Tox, focused its attention on Jack. It let out a low, guttural growl, a sound that seemed to shake the very ground, the forest falling silent in response. The air itself seemed to tremble with the intensity of its presence. Jack's eyes never left the bear, his body shifting slightly as if preparing for something. He reached for a small canister hanging from his belt, his fingers moving with practiced ease. With a sharp hiss, the canister released a cloud of irritant chemicals into the air, a sharp, acrid smell that stung the nose and filled the space between them. Human, yelling, voice filled with an eerie calm. "Come on then, big guy, let's see what you've got." The bear recoiled, momentarily confused by the cloud that swirled around it. Its eyes blinked rapidly, momentarily disoriented. The irritants filled the air, burning its senses, and the mighty predator staggered back. But Jack, unfazed, unrelenting, took this as his opening. He darted forward, moving with unnatural speed for a human, his body weaving between trees and rocks like a shadow in the forest. ZR-Tox, whispering, in awe, This species should not be alive. How is it doing this?" Jack's movements were a blur of precision, dodging the bear's massive paws and slashing at it with a small, sharp blade. ZR-Tox watched, its sensors struggling to comprehend what it was witnessing. This was not an animal that should have survived in these conditions. This was something else. The bear, angered and confused, let out another roar, charging toward Jack with terrifying speed. Its claws slashed through the air, the ground beneath it trembling with each powerful strike. But Jack was faster, his body twisting and rolling with a fluidity that was completely alien to ZR-Tox's understanding of human movement. With every attack, Jack dodged with terrifying precision, his eyes locked on the bear as if this were nothing more than a game. But the stakes were deadly real. Human, gritting teeth, his voice laced with determination. "I don't want to kill you, but you've left me no choice." ZR-Tox's internal systems were in overdrive, analyzing the sequence of events with cold detachment. But even its logical processors could not come to terms with the display before it. This human, Jack, was fighting not with fear, but with purpose. Every movement seemed calculated, designed to tire the predator, to wear it down. And there, amidst the chaos of claws and blood, something deeper began to emerge, a respect for the violence, a strange understanding of the balance between life and death. The bear charges again, its claws extended, a roar that echoes through the mountains. Jack did not hesitate. With a final surge of energy, he launched himself forward, diving beneath the bear's swiping paws. He rolled through the dirt, using the force of the attack to his advantage. With one swift motion, he plunged the blade deep into the bear's throat. The creature's massive body convulsed as the weapon pierced the soft tissue. The bear's roar faltered, its strength draining as it staggered back. Stunned, Jack stood there, breathing heavily, his body covered in blood from the fight, but his eyes cold and focused. There was no triumph in his gaze, only the quiet acceptance of a necessity fulfilled. Human, panting, his voice strained but calm. "Damn it, didn't want to do that." He stepped back, watching the mighty creature fall to the ground, its great body finally still. Jack wiped his hands on his pants, his gaze lingering on the fallen bear. There was no pride, no joy in the kill, only the weight of survival, of maintaining the balance between life and death. ZR-Tox, internal systems buzzing, recording every detail. Humans, capable of unimaginable violence, but wielded only when needed. This species is not what I expected. The clearing falls silent, save for the sound of the river's distant rush. ZR-Tox's sensors record the last of the data, its analysis already recalibrating. The world around them seemed to breathe again, the forest slowly returning to its natural rhythm. But for ZR-Tox, the journey had only just begun. This species, so unpredictable, so dangerous, was more than just a subject of study. They were a mystery, a riddle that no data could fully decipher. The battle had left the air thick with tension, the smell of iron and earth mingling. The ground beneath their feet was damp with the blood of an apex predator. A creature that had been, until moments ago, the undisputed ruler of this wild world. The forest around them seemed to hold its breath, as if even nature itself had stepped back, unsure of the events it had just witnessed. Jack stood over the fallen grizzly, his breathing heavy, each exhale a mixture of exhaustion and grim satisfaction. His body was battered, scratches, bruises, and cuts marred his skin, but there was no triumph in his eyes. Only a distant melancholy. He had done what was necessary to survive, but it had come at a cost. ZR Talks, standing in silent observation, recorded the scene with an analytical precision that bordered on the cold. But even its data-driven systems could not ignore the sheer improbability of what had just transpired. The human, Jack, had faced a predator far stronger, faster, and more lethal, and had emerged victorious, but not without paying a price. Human, quietly, wiping his blade clean, didn't want to kill you, but you gave me no choice. ZR Talks' sensors processed the words with cold logic. Yet they felt weighted with an emotion it couldn't quite comprehend. The language of humanity was intricate, layered with nuances that didn't fit neatly into any algorithm. Jack's voice held no joy, no satisfaction, only regret. The human's relationship with violence was not one of hunger, but of necessity, a chilling reflection of the planet's unforgiving nature. ZR Talks, VO, internal monologue. Humanity, capable of unimaginable violence, but wielded only when necessary. But what does this say about their true nature? They are a species that survives not just through intelligence or strength, but through restraint. Jack turned away from the fallen bear, wiping his hands on his tattered pants. He glanced at ZR Talks, his expression unreadable but not unfriendly. Human, calmly. This is Earth. This is how we survive. ZR Talks' sensors flickered, processing every word, every action. The human had fought not only for survival, but to maintain balance. The bear, in all its monstrous power, had been an equal force in the ecosystem. And Jack, in his own way, had become a part of that balance, a force of nature. Unpredictable, yet undeniably effective. But there was more to this than simply surviving. There was something deeper at play here. Something that ZR Talks was beginning to understand. As the bear's body lay in the clearing, the forest seemed to breathe again, the oppressive weight of its silence lifting. A slight wind rustled through the trees, as if the very landscape were accepting the outcome. It was a land of predators and prey. But perhaps, in the end, it was the survival that mattered more than the kill. The rules of nature, harsh and unforgiving, had been acknowledged, and now, they would be respected. Across the stars, in the heart of a sprawling galactic network, an emergency assembly was convened. Representatives from dozens of species, from distant methane-breathing giants to silicon-based crystalline entities, gathered in an ornate, cavernous hall. The stakes were high, the atmosphere charged with a palpable sense of dread. The footage that had been transmitted from the distant world of Earth had set the galaxy on edge. An event of such magnitude that the very foundation of xenobiological understanding was at risk of being shattered. In the center of the hall, a massive holographic display flickered to life, showing the footage of the human, Jack, fighting the grizzly bear. The sequence unfolding like a nightmare of precision and violence. Each motion of the humans was dissected, analyzed, and interpreted in real time. as the delegates watched in stunned silence. Vex Nortal, high classifier. How can this be possible? A human, unarmed, facing an apex predator of that size, and not only surviving, but defeating it? What does this say about their evolutionary capabilities? The representatives, many of whom had seen countless battles between species, were visibly shaken. Their understanding of the universe, of power dynamics, of what constituted a species' place in the galactic order, was being fundamentally challenged. The human species, once categorized as mostly harmless, had just redefined its position in the cosmic hierarchy. The holographic display zooms in on Jack's final confrontation with the bear. The violent charge, the precise strike with the blade, the blood spilling across the ground. It was a testament to the humans' incredible adaptability, to their ability to survive in the face of overwhelming odds. Creel, Draconian Ambassador. Have we underestimated them? We've watched them for centuries, but we've never seen anything like this. A species capable of such unpredictable violence. They are not just survivors. They are hunters. Zix, Academy representative. It is more than just that. This behavior, this fight, it wasn't merely about survival. It was about establishing dominance. They fought not just for life, but for control. In a way, they've adapted to be both predator and prey. And that is something we've never encountered in any other species. Vex Nortal, shuddering. They've evolved alongside their predators. Not as prey but as competitors. This is not a species to be underestimated. They have the physical capabilities. Yes, but more disturbingly, they have the mental agility to adapt to any situation. To handle danger in a way that few species in the galaxy ever could. Creel, shaken, leaning forward, and that's not even the worst part. They don't even care about the consequences of their actions. There's no remorse, no hesitation. They kill when it's necessary. They want to be at the top. The delegates exchanged nervous glances. The implications of ZR-Tox's report sinking in. Humanity's status, once benign, was now a subject of intense debate. They were no longer just another species to be observed. They were a threat. A species that could, with nothing but the will to survive, defy all logic, all expectations. Zix, calmly, but with a sense of finality. We must reconsider everything. Our entire classification system is flawed. We cannot simply categorize humans based on their potential to harm others. They are capable of far more, and they are aware of their place in the galaxy. They know we are watching them. The assembly room fell into a tense silence. The realization spread across the room like wildfire. The implications of ZR-Tox's findings were clear. Humanity was not just a species to be studied. It was a species that needed to be understood on a far deeper level. Its ability to survive, to fight, to adapt, it was not merely a biological trait. It was a philosophy of existence. And that, perhaps, was the most terrifying discovery of all. Vex Nortal, slightly trembling. We need to update their classification immediately. Mostly harmless is no longer sufficient. They need to be classified as Deathworlders. Class 1. Extreme caution advised. With a subcategory, Paradoxical Threat Assessment. A moment of silence as the delegates murmur among themselves. The decision was made. The galaxy had a new apex predator. And it was human. Meanwhile, on Earth, Jack continued his trek through the wilderness, completely unaware of the intergalactic tremors his actions had caused. The human guide, once just a man lost in the vastness of his own world, had unknowingly become a symbol of something far greater, of a species that had carved its place at the top of the food chain. And, in doing so, had challenged the very fabric of the galaxy's understanding of power, survival, and existence. As the winds blew through the trees, the distant hum of observation ships above seemed to grow louder. their cloaking technology imperfectly shielding them from the keen eyes of Earth's newest apex predator. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the latest stories, updates, and revelations about UFOs and the beings that might be watching us from the stars. Keep your eyes to the sky, stay curious, and as always, Ascension HFY Extra will continue to bring the mysteries of the universe straight to you. See you in the next video, where the truth might just be stranger than fiction. Let's ascend together. Don't forget to drop a comment below, share your thoughts, theories, and let us know what extraterrestrial stories you want us to uncover next. Your curiosity fuels this journey,